How's everybody doing today? Today I want to show you my pride and joy. This is my 1981 Rabbit pickup truck that I have had for a little over 10 years. It originally had a 1.5 liter diesel in it that had blown up and already been replaced by the factory at 60,000 miles, and so I took that out, and I had a 1.6 with a 1.9 head on it, turbo indirect injection diesel. People call it a Franken turbo, but I got seats out of a Mark 5. The seat rails are the exact same distance from the factory, and you can just bolt them in, really. But for the past 9 years or so, I've had a AHU Mark 3 TDI engine in it, and I used a Land Rover Discovery injection pump so that I could run it without a computer. Here's a picture of what the pump setup looks like. So I actually got this engine when I still had my Volkswagen shop back in Ohio. I had a customer that had a Mark III Jetta TDI for a very long time, and going on 300,000 miles, and it ended up cracking the ring landing on the number 3 piston, and the engine ran unevenly to the point where it broke the timing belt. So of course they had it towed back home, and the first thing they knew, it had rolled down the hill because the parking brake hadn't worked, and it was just relying on the engine compression in order to keep the car parked. So I got the car pretty cheap, and put a used piston in it, new piston rings, put some bearings in it, and I've taken this thing all over the country. This right here is my crankcase breather vent return, and this really is a box around the air intake, really just to try to quiet things down. So I run all custom engine mounts except the driver's side. They're kind of ugly, but way overbuilt from my younger years. And with this setup, has a Corrado 5-speed transmission with a cable shift, and it has a cable clutch that is off of a 1989 Honda Civic, and so it bolts right in. I have the, kind of hard to see down there, I have a turbo off of a ALH TDI, and that's controlled by a DAWS device as well as a hand valve. So basically you can make it drive really sporty, or if you're on the highway you can turn the turbo off. And fuel economy is just really silly. I mean, you can easily get 60 plus miles per gallon, and even if you just beat the piss out of it and you're just zipping around with your pedal to the floor all the time, it at least gets 50. When I had the 1.6 diesels in it, I was trying to hop up the engine and always wanted to get the most power that I could, and I think that ultimately ended it dying. I have the lip off of a Mark II, not a perfect fit, but it does the job. So as far as the tuning on this engine, I've kept it very low. It only runs about 5 psi. So because I don't run an intercooler on this setup, I have had an intercooler in here before, mounted right in this area, but all the extra pipes and stuff, it's just not really worth it for me at this time. And see my gigantic homemade strut brace. really stiffen things up. But you can see underneath I've added some pretty serious extra structure connecting the frame rails, as well as a homemade K-bar in the front. Kind of hard to see down there, but if you guys have any more questions about it, maybe I can make another video about that. But thanks for checking out my ride.